Turbo Zone.
Yo, 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 it's Alex and Teddy. We eating spaghetti.
Eating spaghetti. It's deadly.
Out in the Turbo Zone.
We are out in the Turbo Zone. Turbo fans, what time is it?
It's prime time.
It's prime time. Time for some Metroid Prime. Ooh,
Prime time.
what an occasion. It's also still Nintendo November for those of you following. It does exist. Nintentember. Or no, damn it. That is it. That is it. Right?
Nintentember.
Nintentember.
I like that. So.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so Metroid Prime. That's that classic Nintendo adage or something.
The Cube, man, the GameCube.
Ooh, yeah. This game is a cube game for sure. What do you think of Metroid Prime, Alex?
I think Metroid Prime is glorious.
Yes, that's a great characterization of it. How so?
I feel like, I'm gonna go off a little tangent for a second. I feel like of all of Nintendo's transitions into 3D, this was probably their best. Like, this is the best transition they've ever done.
Right. What are they transitioning from?
From the classic Metroid, from the 2D side-scrolling exploration, whatever. Games.
Yeah, that thing.
No,
it's classic, definitely. It's probably one of the first big sci-fi, adventure exploration games. Now, what is gained and what is lost in the transition to 3D?
What is gained is perspective, which plays a huge part in this game. What is lost is, it sounds cliche because I just said it, but also perspective.
It's not your classic 2D, action adventure game, I guess, platforming. All the same, is a very bold game and it's very grand. One moment that really sticks out to me, and I think sets the tone for this whole game, is the intro sequence, where you start off on a pirate ship. Yarg, right?
Yarg.
It's not your typical pirate. Space pirates.
Yarg, space pirates.
They're not just, grumpy space pirates with
Give me
gears and
space
hooks. They are bona fide foreign entities that are struggling and suffering on the ship, and you have no idea what's going on. It just plops you right in this uncanny setting where you don't understand everything, and the ship comes crashing down, you lose your weapons, and you have to evacuate the ship in time. And I feel like this does a really great job of setting the tone for the game, in that you sort of work to reclaim the pieces.
Yeah. It kind of gives you a goal, because you play with Samus towards the beginning, and you feel how powerful she is, and you feel, what she is capable of, and then it just strips that all away from you. It's like, nope, not gonna have it.
Absolutely, and that becomes a big purpose for the game, is reacquiring your weaponry and sort of discovering the story behind the new location that you fall down on.
Talent 4.
Talent 4.
Going Talent 4. And Talent 4 is beautiful. It's got some really nice landscapes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing here, even for the GameCube, which I know back in the day, people used to argue that the GameCube was shit. That the GameCube just didn't hold up to the PS2 and I guess the Xbox.
And we don't talk to those people, so.
No. Well, they're watching us.
Stop watching us.
No, please continue.
Exit the video. Go back.
I welcome all criticisms. Anyways, it still is beautiful. One thing you notice is, like you said, with the perspective, this is a first-person game where you take the perspective behind the mask, but you can actually see the reflection of Samus's face every so often in certain environments.
And not even that, you have like some little like splats on your visor, some like water or whatnot will come down, and it's really nice. And it just adds to this whole like, it makes you feel like you're there, you're exploring this foreign land, you're finding these cool upgrades and whatnot. I don't know, it just helps to like really immerse you.
Absolutely, there's huge attention to detail, and that's important because the game is huge. There's a lot to explore.
And it's weird talking about a game like Metroid because you can't talk about like level design, and you can't talk about like, you can talk about boss encounters sometime, But like beyond that, there's not much to the whole Metroid formula other than explore and find, and that's why it's such a beautiful series. That's why it works so well.
Honestly, I feel the level design is really commendable here. In that, yeah, I mean, it's 3D and it's not so much platforming in your
Mm.
typical, even 3D sense, but there's a lot of ways that the world opens up to you the more technology you acquire, and there's more secrets as well as objectives that sort of open themselves up to you. So, in that respect, I think Retro Studios just killed it with
Oh,
designing the game and the world as a whole.
praise Retro Studios.
All
They
hail.
they did a glorious job. They're a great like studio. They have yet to disappoint me.
Hmm.
And this game was the start of their glorious run thus far. So
We won't get too far on a tangent there. Um, but yes, they really did a great job here at creating this whole environment and this world for you to explore and to sort of become a part of it. It almost feels like you become more accustomed to the world as you explore it, and that kind of allows me to segue into the game's subtle storytelling.
uh,
Do you have any feelings about that?
um the game gives you some pretty bare bones story. If you're just playing through it like you would any other game, but to really get the meat of the story, you're gonna have to read into it a lot more. You're gonna have to use your little scan visor that you get in the game, and that's kind of a cool element because it gives you an option to either read into this deep story or just have this bare bones plot, and I really like that.
I think so, and I think if you can really invest yourself into that story, you get a whole lot more out of Metroid Prime than you would just simply playing through it. Like just
Mm.
doing it for the action and exploration. You also kind of have to rely on the visor to, find ways, to open up switches or elevators or whatever. So it is instrumental in advancing through the game. But just using it sort of shows you, other things you can sort of scan and learn about, like your enemies. It tells you about their patterns and attacks and things like that. And it also kind of contributes towards a completion rating. So if you're someone who plays games, for the challenge, you like to 100% them and sort of just find everything. That is a really cool aspect about Metroid Prime.
It is. I know they included that because that's a really popular thing in like Japanese audiences. Is like scanning everything, and I don't know, like that kind of like really collectible nature.
It's
Uh,
very much similar to Ocarina of Time in a way, except with a completion rating.
yeah, yeah.
In that, you kind of learn about your environment through your fairy or whatever, I guess.
Through Navi. Hello.
Yes, your
Hey,
navigator.
listen. Only
Except without the annoying voice.
pretty sure Samus would shoot it.
Samus would do this review in complete silence.
Well, yeah, that Samus would. We're not talking about the Samus that actually speaks.
Ooh, does that exist? I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Other him.
Okay.
Go back to Prime. Backpedal.
No, I haven't played it yet, and I don't intend to.
Don't.
Yeah.
um,
There's that. Okay.
But no, I don't know. I feel like going back to what I said before about the transition to 3D. I feel like this is one of Nintendo's best in keeping the heart and soul of the original games intact, because it does feel exactly like playing an old school Metroid game, just in the third person.
Mm-hmm.
Where like take Mario 64, where that kind of changed up the whole gameplay style, and Ocarina of Time did also to an extent. I feel like Metroid Prime had the advantage of not really needing to change a lot up. Just change the whole perspective, and it works just the same.
Right, and it really maintains a sense of suspense. Just going through, it's like you kind of anticipate boss battles if you keep the tip system on, if you let the game kind of guide you where to go. But it's almost like, what boss am I going to see, and how big is it going to be? It is, there's all these exciting factors, and I think that's a real takeaway point, is that just sort of exploring and discovering the environment and the enemies and what you have to do. It's really exciting. Acquiring new technologies, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great too. And also, I feel like the soundtrack really helps to immerse you in your, in your surroundings. That's the word. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the one.
Definitely, I really like how the soundtrack also sort of evolves as you get through the game. Like some locations actually change it up, like when you revisit them. Were there any themes that really stuck out to you?
Well, for one, the main theme, because that's the one I heard every time I turn on the game, and I love it. Other than that, I really like the theme for Ridley, and I don't know, the snow place, whatever, the drifts.
Vendrana, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really nice theme. I don't know, it's just a really nice soundtrack.
They all kind of work well together towards building that sense of personality to each world. And even when you go to the elevators, like it gets in this weird keyboard electronics sound. It's funny. And even when you start off the game from your save point, you start off with the heroic Samus theme. It's pretty cool, and it really invests you into the game, like you were saying. So soundtrack is definitely a takeaway point here, in conjunction with everything else the game does well. Now, why might somebody not be as excited playing Metroid Prime?
I mean, I guess it really depends on where you're coming from.
Okay.
What do you mean by that question exactly? Like, what do you?
Okay. Now, I don't think 3D games are for everyone.
Okay.
I think that is kind of strong in this game. I mean, there's a lot that it does well, but I feel like there's some areas that it's a little bit Well, I don't want to say lacking, but just that it doesn't really execute properly, or to the best of its potential.
Yeah. For example, what's give me an example?
Well, I've got several. There's a lot of backtracking in the game. Shout out to Pac-Man.
Sorry, my phone went off.
um,
Got put on turbo silent.
Yes, that was pretty silent. So I commend Pac-Man. A lot of backtracking in the game. You have to keep revisiting environments, and I know that might piss some people off. Combat, while it's certainly good and it's exciting, it's a bit contingent on a control system that's not perfect. And that's totally subjective.
Oh
but...
Well, like I would say that's the only downfall with the game is that the controls, especially if you're playing on the GameCube version, it does take a bit to adjust to. The setup's not what you expect for a first-person game.
I mean, it's good. It works, and that's what's important. And I did adjust to it, sure. But I mean, even playing through the entire game, I felt like there were parts that were difficult. Like, there's a dash that you have to do, to kind of sideswipe and dodge bullets. And pulling that off can be really difficult because sometimes you might jump instead, And,
oh yeah? I never had trouble with that. I don't know.
Well, I only had real trouble with that in the end of the game. All the same, I mean, it didn't stop me from playing through. But in general, you require, to really get through the game, a lot of auto-targeting on your enemies. Mm-hmm. And it feels a little unnatural, almost. And it's not to say this really has to play like a Call of Duty. In fact, I wouldn't like it if it did.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that, it's not a first-person shooter. It's a first-person adventure. So, a lot of those first-person, shooter tropes don't really need to apply, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. I mean, they don't. But requiring to auto-lock on when your target's, like, above you requires you to stand still, aim the controller up, like the reticle up, and then lock on. And, I mean, the whole procedure is just, it feels a little unnatural.
But, I mean, I know, because, like, I haven't played the Wii version of Prime, but I know from experience playing Prime 3 that the Wii controls do fix that. So if that's something that you're looking into and you're not really okay with, I think go for the trilogy.
Yeah, I would like to replay it on the trilogy version, but as far as the the original GameCube version goes, it does take some adjusting. Now, some other just small details that I just wanted to bring up. As soon as you exit a room and you go into another room, say you want to go 2 rooms back, all of the enemies respawn. So I don't know.
I like that. It's good for farming though. If you need like missiles or health, you really abuse the respawn.
I guess so. I guess that's fine. But if you're really just trying to adventure through the game and it's not like you're using too many missiles anyway, it's not too bad. And plus, you can kind of just walk right past them. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. And the other thing, I think this is silly, but I just want to bring it up. A lot of times, the doors don't open, like on your first shot. I just found that hilarious. So, like, you're just standing in front of the door, you're shot at waiting for it to open.
That's always confused me with the Metroid series. Is like, why do you have to shoot the door? Like, who designed this? Like, what if you don't have a gun? What do you do? How do you open this door?
I will say they improved it over the original Metroid, though.
Oh yeah.
You know how in the original Metroid, when you come up to a door where you have to fire missiles at it, you have to fire 5 missiles, and then go through the door, and then say you go out and then you want to come back through it, you still got to fire 5 missiles again.
Yeah.
You only have to fire 1 this time, and it's for good.
Yeah. That was annoying in the original.
So they fixed that up, and the sound, when you're low on health, is not nearly as annoying.
Bleep,
as the
bleep,
original
bleep,
game.
bleep, 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 bleep.
That is just game breaking.
How do you feel about the most important element here, the morph ball?
Oh, that's so cool! It's like you got half pipes located throughout the entire game, and I don't know. I just thought that was a really interesting feature.
I constantly just roll around. That's like what I do to get around. I'm just like, oh, here we go. Just roll around the world.
Yeah, and you get some cool upgrades to your morph ball as well. I do enjoy the morph ball. That's pretty cool. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played the game, but that is something to look forward to. I like how it kind of transitions you into 3D and you go through these tunnels and everything. It's a nice feature.
Can I highlight one of my favorite moments in the game?
Please do.
I forgot where exactly it is because it's been a while since I've actually played through the game completely. I did play a little bit the other night to kind of refresh my memory, but you're in this area and you're like it's like sunny and stuff and like you see like the shadow of like Ridley just right across and you're like, what was that? Yeah. It's like it really makes you kind of like wonder like what's going on, and like it like really alludes to to Ridley still being there. And I don't know, I feel like it's a really nice touch, and like it's just like a 5-second like little shadow, but it just really adds to the game.
My first time playing the game at all, and I didn't finish it the first time I played it. I just distinctly remember that scene from this game, and when I got to re-experience it and replaying the game, it was just like a real throwback. And I think you're right that it is a very cinematic take, and it really refreshes you like to your experience and like what you're really getting yourself into. It comes at a very important part in the game. It's you haven't really, you've kind of broken the surface, but you're not quite there yet. And it's a reminder that there's more to this game than sort of meets the eye.
Yes.
So on that note, would you recommend playing Metroid Prime to anyone who hasn't?
I would say go for it, but make sure you know what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely.
Because I think if you go into this game not really expecting this game, it might throw you off a bit. It might, it could be a bit staggering. But
it can be overwhelming. I agree. Yeah. And it is challenging in several regards, but there is a tip system to help you, so it's not like playing the original Metroid for the NES.
Oh God.
Yes,
I love that game, but that game's ridiculous.
That is, I mean, I love it too. I respect it, but this game is much more approachable for that. And even at that, it's still something. It's an experience, and it's not an easy one, to say the least.
I know we were talking about it. Do you want to talk about the little part with fusion?
I think this is a real sign of the times here, but it's an interesting footnote in that you can connect your 100% completed version of Metroid Prime with your 100% completed version of Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance with your GameCube Game Boy Advance link cable, and you get the added bonus of playing the original Metroid.
Woo! Also you get the fusion suit.
Do you? Oh, I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, you do get the Samus's Prime suit, which is up for the fusion suit. So that's pretty cool. That's probably the reason to do it, but yay, classic Metroid.
Well, Yeah, if that's how you want to play it.
I mean, if you're really dedicated, you can just beat both those games and buy a link cable.
You want to say I did it, then
I did it.
yeah. um, I think a lot of us are past that though. But still, I mean, it's cool that they did that back in the day. But I mean, even then, they kind of threw that to the wind with the Game Boy Advance port for Metroid.
Yeah, the classics thing or the
Yeah, the classics one.
okay.
And then you have Virtual Console and you
Or
have
just play
Zero Mission. Yeah, exactly.
Just play Zero Mission. It's like the good version of one.
But that's an interesting footnote. Okay, so I guess that about wraps it up for Metroid Prime. This is a great game, and it's even like really something to talk about. It's
It's hard though. It's like a hard review, man. It's hard to review of game that's like it's so restrictive, and also it just opens itself up to you. It's weird the way it's set up.
Yeah, and I mean we struggled with it a bit the first take. And I mean, it almost still doesn't feel natural to just talk about. It's something you really just kind of got to experience for yourself. Now, that being said, I do have a question to end this on.
Ooh, I like these.
Yes, me too. Disregarding that thing that E3 announced for the 3DS,
Oh.
that thing. Don't say it. What style would you like to see the next Metroid game in, assuming we get one? 2D or 3D?
I would have to go. It's a tough choice. I would still stick with 3D, but I would want them to go back to the Prime style at least. Maybe not do like the whole Prime thing again, but I felt like after the whatever other M was, they definitely need to go back to the Prime setup.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's not a bad approach. Either one is a fine answer to me. Personally, I think they've done just about all they can with the 3D Metroids, with the entire Prime trilogy. I think this game alone takes it for the trilogy, but that's, I mean, that's a personal matter, It's fine to disagree. With the 2D games, I feel like they could make a lot more of them. They really hit it off in the Game Boy Advance era, with Fusion and Zero Mission, and I kind of wish they just continued that trend. I don't want to see it done in the typical 3DS 2D platformer style.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of against them doing a 2D one, because I'm afraid they would put it in that kind of like a 3DS 2.5D new Super Metroid style or something like that. So,
Now, I will say 3D would be cool if they took the formula for Hunters on the DS and they made that more applicable to 3DS and Wi-Fi capabilities, or maybe Wii U. I mean, that would be cool too. Like, online ranked battles with bounty hunters.
Isn't that what Federation Force pretty much is?
No. Federation Force is where you team up with partners to set creatures from the Metroid universe in traps.
Do you know what my favorite Metroid game is?
Which one? 2?
Pinball.
Pinball.
You ever played that game?
Yes, I have it.
So good.
It is. I did put a lot of time into it. It is a good take. It's a nice, I guess style on Metroid or whatever. It's a good concept to draw from. Personally, though, I have to go with Prime. I think that's probably my favorite that I've played. I still haven't played the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, I might have to go with Prime or Prime 2. One of those two. I feel like if Fusion comes close, I feel like it holds my hand a little too much. So yeah, definitely Prime or Prime 2 would be my picks there.
Yeah, all great games. I mean, it's hard to say there are many or there are any bad Metroid games. Excluding
even Other M isn't even even Other M isn't even awful. It's just disappointing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, when they set the expectations so high for themselves.
Yeah.
What can you expect? But that's it for our opinions. Let us know what your favorite Metroid game is and what style you want to see it in the comments.
Talk about how much you love Samus.
Yes. What's your favorite armor suit?
What's your favorite? Oh, mine?
Yeah, sure.
Gravity.
Which one?
The gravity suit. It's the purple one.
Oh yeah, I love that one. I actually like the last one you get in Metroid Prime. I won't spoil that for anyone.
Yeah.
Um, but they're all great. I mean, it's all classic Samus.
Yay, Metroid.
Hooray, Metroid! We did it!
Yay.
Turbo Zone.